When you're writing, your ideas and content either come from you or someone else. If it's from someone else, it could be a written text or other material. If it's a written text, you've got two choices. You either quote, which means you copy words from a source, or you paraphrase, when you rewrite something in your own words, keeping the author's original meaning. APA has different ways of creating in-text citations. Short quotes have less than 40 words. From the original, copy the exact words and put them inside double quotation marks. Then give the author's surname, year of publication, and the page number where the words are from. This information is in brackets. Notice the commas and the full stop inside the brackets. Each one is followed by a space. A full stop ends the sentence. If you put the author first, you can put the page number after the quote. Long quotes have more than 40 words. They're not often used because lecturers expect you to use your own words. Put a line space above and below it and use a right indentation. Quotation marks are not used for long quotes. Paraphrasing is when you rewrite something in your own words. Most of the time, your lecturers expect you to paraphrase rather than quote, because using your own words shows that you understand the content. It's identified by inserting the author and the year of publication. You don't need the page number. A comma followed by a space separates the author from the year. A full stop comes at the end of the sentence. The reader assumes that everything before the citation is your paraphrase. Paraphrasing can also be identified by putting the author's name first, followed by the year in brackets. The reader assumes that what comes after the citation is paraphrase. Sometimes you might want to refer to a source within a source that you're reading. Say, for example, you're reading an article by McCarthy, and he refers to the research of Sawir et al. And you want to include this in your assignment, but you can't access the original work. Mention the type of source it is, in this case a qualitative study, and include the original authors without the year. Then in brackets, put as cited in, followed by the author and year of the source you actually read. On your reference list, you would only include the details for McCarthy. When you bring in research, you have a choice about whether you put the ideas and content first or the author first. In this example, the content comes first, and then the author. And here, the author's details are first, and then the content. Putting the ideas and content first helps the reader focus on what the research is about. Here, the focus is on social networking sites. Putting the author first helps the reader focus on who's done the research. Here, the focus is on McCarthy and what McCarthy's research says about the benefits. There are a few language options for putting the author first. You can point to the author, using according to or as. You can also state the type of research, a recent case study. And if you compare the findings of different researchers, you can use in contrast or similarly. If you want to write more than one sentence about a source, put the author within the first sentence. Then, in the second sentence, refer back to this author or their research, using language such as they, this research, a second finding. When you do this, you don't need to repeat the citation. Some sources have more than one author. If a source has two authors, use the symbol for and inside the brackets. When you put the authors first, use the word and. When citing a source with 3 to 5 authors for the first time, list all the names in the same order as in the source, and use commas to separate the names, including one before the and symbol. If you cite the source again in the same assignment, only give the first author's name, and use the abbreviation et al., which means and others. Put a full stop after the abbreviation. It's the same when you put the author first. When there are 6 or more authors, use et al. Every time you cite this source. You also put a reference list at the end of your assignment. It provides exact details of the sources you used. This reference list has 4 source types. The details and formatting are different for each type. It's in alphabetical order, and each item has a hanging indent. For a book, start with the author's surname and initial and the year of publication in brackets. Then the title of the book, which is in italics. Use capital letters at the start of the title and the subtitle, and for names of people, organizations, and places, just like you would in a sentence. And lastly, the place of publication and publisher. Here, the book was published in the United States, so the city and state code are included. For books published in other countries, include the city and country. It's important to get the punctuation right. For an e-book, you don't put the place of publication. Put retrieved from and the URL of the publisher's homepage. For a journal article, after the author and year, put the title of the article, then the title of the journal in italics with capital letters. Then you have volume number, also in italics, issue number, in brackets but not italics, and the page numbers of the full article. Lastly, the Digital Object Identifier, or DOI, which is a code that can help you locate online content. It's presented as a URL. If your article has no DOI, then write retrieved from and use the URL of the journal homepage. For a web page, start with the owner of the website, or the author's surname and initial, and the year. If there's no year, you can use ND in the brackets, meaning no date. Then the title of the web page in italics. Lastly, put retrieved from and the full URL of the page you are on. If the web page content is likely to change, include the retrieval date. An edited book has chapters that are usually written by different authors. Start with the author of the chapter and year, then the title of the chapter, then the editors, with initial before surname this time. The abbreviation for editors is in brackets. Then the title of the book, then the page numbers of the chapter in brackets. Use PP, which is the abbreviation for pages. And lastly, the publication details, just like for other books. Online tools and guides can help you with referencing. APA Interactive is easy to use. The AUT website has the APA Referencing Style Guide and a handy brief guide. Other tools and guides are available. Use the APA Style blog for unusual or tricky referencing questions. Referencing provides exact details of sources and lists sources in a systematic way.